Shut up and sit down.
Good evening everyone, it's your man of the hour, the Tower of Power, the living legend of professional wrestling punditry. Hello, my name is Lee Hazel and this is the SteelChair show where we stare into the abyss between what fans want from a wrestling product and everything that WWE actually puts out. This week, there was no abyss. During the WWE UK Championship Tournament, Connecticut's finest got things right in an event that, while not having the star power of the Cruiserweight Classic, still had great matches where they counted. This has been something of an emotional weekend for fans of British wrestling, as our little part of the industry, which has been thriving for almost half a decade now with the likes of Progress, Rev Pro, Insane Championship Wrestling, Preston City Wrestling, and WCPW, making the most of the incredible talent that we as a nation have been producing, and those promotions have cultivated them into the stars of the future. Well, our little part of the industry got the most worldwide attention it's ever received as part of WWE's brand new UK Championship Tournament. It feels like the growing of this scene has been leading up to this moment after Will Ospreay winning the Best of the Super Juniors tournament, Progress selling out Brixton, World of Sport making a comeback, and 3 British wrestlers making such a name for themselves in the Cruiserweight Classic. A moment like this was bound to happen, and it feels like after being on the edge for so long, we finally cracked some sort of mainstream success and worldwide recognition. The first night did pose some concerns. It was an enjoyable evening of wrestling, no doubt, but it did end with almost every single finish being the most predictable it could have possibly been. Weirdly, this exposes the fact that WWE are a little bit late to the party when it comes to recognising Britain as a breeding ground for talent. Ring of Honor have snapped up Marty Scurll and Will Ospreay, World of Sport grabbed El Ligero, Grado and Dave Mastiff, and Sabre Jr. couldn't come to terms with WWE for a contract, so he ended up working at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Even WWE have cannibalised their own chances at creating a true best of British tournament by keeping Noam Dar Neville and Jack Gallagher on 205 Live. It shows that while amazing, British talent is currently spread thin across the globe, and in my opinion, for it to truly be a world-beating wrestling region, we need a super show or promotion, something to really step up like New Japan or All Japan. Perhaps this is what the WWE UK show will become, but I'm not so sure. I mean, firstly, we'd need it to be on Sky or the BBC or any one of the mainstream channels for everyone to be able to see it, and not just for network subscribers only. Secondly, if we continue to allow the US to dictate how we are perceived, then we will continue to be swallowed up by them. Something that helped Japan and Mexico become so renowned is the fact that they had such different styles, cultures, and even languages. But we speak the same language as the Americans and our culture is slowly being assimilated by them. And if we want to be as respected as Japan or Mexico, then we need to be even more forward thinking and really create an out-of-the-box style to separate ourselves from our American cousins. But now that I've gotten my spoil sport worrisome comments about the future of British wrestling out of the way, let's continue, shall we? The first day, despite predictability, had some really good matches on the card. HC Dyer was a good pick to go against Trent Seven in the opening match, and we'll likely see more of him in the future, as I think this is the first stepping stone towards a great career for him. Also notable from the first round was Jordan Devlin versus Martin Stone, who's now wrestling under the name Danny Burch, although this was notable for the wrong reasons. Stone is a veteran of British wrestling and had a lot more to offer to the tournament than what he was allowed to give here, and Devlin clearly only being booked as a Finn Balor knockoff, a gimmick which they don't even really explore to its fullest potential. He never even confronts Balor when Balor comes down to the ring the second night in. He's also green, very green, and it appears prone to botching. I wouldn't be surprised if Stone was concussed after that kick split the back of his head open. Having him go over Burch, especially with such a screw finish, felt wrong on almost every conceivable level. Fortunately, the second night put all of that negativity to rest. Devlin shook off the nerves that must have plagued his opening performance, and him and Tyler Bate put on a hell of a show. Trent Seven and Joseph Connors were the shock losses in the quarterfinals, and while it was horrible to see them go, their matches with Wolfgang and Mark Andrews respectively had to lose some wonderful talent no matter which way you swung it. Trent losing to Wolfgang Lowe was a little bit of a puzzler. I thought WWE were trying to recreate the magic of the Cruiserweight Classic bout between the DIY tag team members of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa by having Mustache Mountain members Trent Seven and Tyler Bate go at it in the semis. And I have to say, Wolfgang's match with Bate didn't quite have the same buzz to it as some of the previous matches on the card, especially as it finished so abruptly. Wolfgang vs. Seven, on the other hand, was a strong style big man match that really showcased Wolfgang's positives as a pro wrestler, especially his high flying ability. This man is 255 pounds and moves like he's 50 pounds lighter. He has some serious cruiserweight moves, the kind that ironically people actually say is currently lacking from the actual cruiserweight division. Connors, however, I can see why. Him versus Dunn in the semis as two heels going at it wouldn't have had the same storytelling potential as Dunn versus the smaller Mark Andrews, who Dunn could manhandle around like a schoolyard bully. It turns out to be one of the best decisions all tournament, as this is the match of the weekend. Dunn versus Mark Andrews. I mean, I was actually worried after the first night that we wouldn't see anything that would have been anywhere near as good as the best matches of the Cruiserweight Classic, but this bout blew that notion to pieces, as did the final between Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. Now, I was actually really worried about this one. You see, to inject a little drama into it, WWE gave Bate a kayfabe injury to his shoulder, meaning that he would be wrestling effectively with one arm. Now, I have a prejudice against storylines like these because whenever I see them, I get flashbacks to the car crash of a match between Batista and Alberto Del Rio at Elimination Chamber 2014. Batista got ambushed by Del Rio and had to sell being her as part of that ambush throughout the match, and it was just terrible, and it cemented my opinion that taking weapons out of your wrestler's arsenal is never a good idea. However, Bate made it work. Dunn attacks Bate after his match with Wolfgang, making sure his shoulder is taped up for the final. Throughout the match, Bate sells the shoulder like a trooper, however he adapts his style to make up for this, looking like a fighting champion all the while. He hits moves that he shouldn't be able to do and immediately looks pained upon doing them. Dunn is mauling him with that natural expression of primal sadism. This kid is so naturally charismatic that I think he could be the Liam Gallagher of professional wrestling. He just has that swagger and the natural look of defiance upon his face, and then there's that's the difference between him and others who have had similar opportunities. They play up to it. Dunn just is it. Easily the MVP of the tournament. Easily. The injury angle adds to the match with an underdog psychology perfectly played out by Bate. A guy so over right now, he even got the smart crowd to boo a heel despite the fact that the heel is a fantastic wrestler and an indie darling. He finally reaches deep down within himself and pulls out his finisher, a move we were assured that he couldn't pull off with one arm, but with heart and guts, the two most treasured commodities in all of WWE, he manages to get the victory over Dunn. People question the fact that the Bruiserweight wasn't crowned that night, but remember, Bate now has to defend that belt on the show that they create for it. This loss frees up Dunn for NXT, perhaps 205 Live, possibly even Raw. But Bate is the man with his hand held high at the end of the night, and with how much he got the crowd on board, I honestly cannot say that he does not deserve it. The night ends on a high in Blackpool, which is the only way that a night this special, this electric could have gone. Now it isn't just our little island, but the world that is buzzing about the future of British professional wrestling. Well, there you have it, folks. That was a SteelChair shot. Thank you for listening to all of my ramblings, and please don't forget to like, to subscribe, and to comment if you agree or disagree. Check out the mag at issue.com/SteelChair. That's issuu.com/SteelChair, where you can find all of our back issues, and you can catch us all on Twitter at SteelChairMag, and me at Fight Like a Cow. Thank you all for listening, and I'll see you all next time.